Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 7 of this amazing hangathon, where we are walking you through creating your own sales process, starting with finding your sales hook, into having your strategy, then finding free traffic and what's the difference between free traffic and paid traffic, and then to your 30-day calendar, which, if you haven't seen that, go watch that hangout. And finally, now we are actually diving into the heart of this, and we are breaking down exactly how you can write a convincing sales letter step by step with the Accelerator. And we're doing all of this with the top copywriter, John Benson. Hey, John.
Hey, Yvette, how are you doing? Thanks.
Yeah.
We had about a minute before we went on. I'm like, my dog attacked my face, so I actually literally put makeup on my nose. I'm not, I don't wear makeup in case anyone wonders, but we literally had so I like my dog just attacked my face, and we have a 7-month-old puppy that's the size of a freaking horse, so it's he likes to play. So for some reason we lost your image,
No, no,
Yvette. So
no. So I actually, guys, I wanted to share this with you before we get started. And I saw this today on my Google Plus stream, and it just struck home because of everything that we're doing here. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And we are here and we are giving you a shot with one of the best copywriter ever and his team that's working for him under him knowing his strategies. And so the question that you should be asking yourself today as you're watching all of this is this going to be a shot that you're not going to take? Is your life going to be exactly the same as it's been up until now? Or is today the day that you are changing everything and starting to see similar results to what John and his team has been getting from his software? And before we dive into that, John, how many hours are you going to be spending next month talking to all the people that bought yesterday?
Let me just say thank you to everyone who gave your trust to me. Money is on the third tier of my importance. Trust is at the very top. So trust is awesome. Respect is right there underneath that. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. So I'm going to be talking to a lot more people than I thought I would be talking to. And in case you're wondering how that's going to happen, and in case I want to cover two things real quick. Number one is we had a lot of orders come in after midnight Pacific Standard Time, maybe because you guys just didn't get the email. So if it came in within an hour or two after that time and you didn't get the email, just email support and say, yeah, I really did try to get in on that, and we'll take care of you. After that, you missed it. So sorry, but hey, don't worry because today I have yet another very
Amazing.
valuable, worth $1,000, real time, not kidding, fast action bonus for you guys. Every day we're gonna go. It's gonna tick down. There's gonna be more and more. In other words, yesterday was the prime one. That's the big one. Next one is it's pretty freaking close. I got to be honest with you. So I'm gonna reveal that at the end of the workshop today, and I'm calling this a workshop. It's actually a hangout. And the other thing I just want to say is for everyone that wanted the modality marketing handbook, I'm going to turn that over to you, Fat. Let you know how we're going to deliver that. Your comments on Accelerator were freaking amazing. I read like 80% of them, and after that, I was like, man, I mean, there's so much desire and want for that. So we're going to follow up with you guys on that to make sure that you get what you need, but also give you the book that we promised you, which is going to help you a lot. So, you Fat, how are we going to give that to them? Because there's a ton of them.
There
So,
are a ton of you, and sadly, it's very difficult to just send each and every one of you a private message. So we're going to do that in a group. Right at the bottom of this page, you're going to see a little button that says Add to Circles. You're going to see the Accelerators Google Plus page. Simply follow that page, and tonight, after everybody has followed and watched the replay, we're going to add you all. We're going to follow you back and send a message to all of you on Google Plus with a link to where you can download the book. So follow the page, and we will get in touch with you. We just don't have all your emails, and we don't have all your contact information. And some of you, we don't know who you are because we can't see your faces on your Google Plus. So just follow the page. We'll follow you back, and we'll send you the link. And another thing, we are still in our competition, guys. We are still sharing and talking, and the prize, the big winner of this sharing competition, is still going to be big, even though we're going down in the daily prices. The first place is still going to be a big prize that you want to go for. So continue sharing, continue talking about us, continue participating, because all of that, you might really enjoy the first prize. I don't know. So should we
Yeah,
go get started?
I decided to make the it's going to be first, second, and third. So that's going to be number one, number two, number three. Anyone that gets in the top three gets the same thing. You all get it at once, and it's extremely valuable. So you might want to jostle yourself up to the top three. Awesome. So let's dive into the content, and in fact, you may want to mute me again, just so that there's not the echo that we're having. So today is step 2 of the VSL formula, and like we did yesterday, I really advise you to get out your worksheet that you should have right in front of you. If you don't have the worksheet, take copious notes, scribble fast and furious, because I'm going over not just the step, because the step is step 2, the vital connection. Okay, goodbye. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually tell you every little step underneath the steps and what you need to do. Now, I want to make this very clear. Not every single one of these steps is necessary for every VSL ever written. For example, if you have a product or if you have a service, you might not have a really long nightmare story. We talked about that yesterday. Your nightmare story might be very, very short. At the end of this, you'll see again my own VSL for Celerator, and you'll see that the nightmare story is not about me at all. It's actually about you. And the nightmare story is very short. It's just extraordinarily, what's the word I'm looking for? Blunt. It's very, I love going for the jugular in the coolest way possible. And a lot of people, thanks for the comments from the copywriters out there for the message there. Yeah, it was fun to write. But so don't worry about having to cover everything. But it's a great exercise to do. So I'm going to go through every step as if you're going to cover every step, and a lot of VSLs do. For like ebooks and stuff like that, they cover every single one of these steps. I'd rather you have too much information than whittle it down than not have enough. Is that fair? Everybody good with that? If you're good with that, I'm going to share my screen just like we did yesterday, and you're going to be looking at the Celerator software just like you did yesterday. And we've already gone over the get started, so if you missed that, go back to day 6. That's yesterday. We've already gone over step 1, the snap suggestion. Now we're at step 2, the vital connection. So what is the vital connection? This is the state of rapport that you need to build with your audience. And rapport is so very essential. The higher dollar your product or service is, the greater your rapport really needs to be, unless your reach, your advertising reach, has exceeded your grasp. So, in other words, if there's like if you buy Salesforce.com, for example, a lot of people have word of mouth for Salesforce, and I think it's like 25 grand or something like. It's expensive software. I could be wrong, so no one tell me too much that I'm wrong. I don't know, but there's a lot of expensive software out there that has a lot of reach. You're probably not in that category. I'm not in that category. So we want to make sure that we build rapport. And rapport is built using the following steps. The very first step is what I call the modest introduction. Notice when I click here, it does pull up the tutorial video, just like every single slide will. It pulls up sample copy that you would just click and point. You can literally pop that copy into there, and we keep adding sample copy to this every single month, every single year. We keep adding more and more copy. So the bottom line is we only take copy from video sales editors that we know work, or copy that we know works in certain places. So that's the trick of getting copy. Sometimes you'll see 30 different copy samples. Sometimes you'll see 4, because sometimes there's just not a better way to say that than 4 things. It might not be a proven way. So the very first thing is a modest introduction. Now I'm going to tell you a funny story about modest introduction, and then I'll tell you what it means. This morning we accidentally sent out an email that had hi first name, and it had some of you got this, and it literally said first name in all caps, and then it went on to go into the email about today. And we noticed it literally a minute after we sent it out. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, this is number 1, always proof your emails. Travis did not proof the email this morning. And number 2, we are suffering from Hangout hangover for sure. I mean, I got 4 or 5 hours of sleep last night, answering a lot of people's questions on here. We're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. So when I write an email, a lot of times I'll start, hey, first name, just note to myself to put the first name field inside the email thing. But so that's a very bad modest introduction, I guess you could say. If I'm introducing myself, I wouldn't say, hi, first name, how are you, right? Bad, bad, bad. On the other hand, it's a freaking mistake. So a guy emailed me and said, if you want to be taken seriously as a marketer, I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? I'm already taking, I'm life and death heart attack serious taken as a marketer. You can ask any one of the people that I've helped make millions of dollars, but it's a freaking mistake. That being said, it's a bad mistake, and when I get it, I get those emails from sometimes I'm like, it's like a form field. We don't use merge fields or anything like that. It was just a copy and paste error. But the point is, it was not a modest introduction. So what is a modest introduction? A modest introduction is where you want to briefly introduce yourself to your audience. And what I do is I just say, hey, my name is, we've gone through step one, so if you don't know step one, you have to watch that video. So already we're transitioning in here, and the very first thing I say is, my name is John, and you know, I wasn't always a guy that you would see on a cover of a fitness magazine or a guy that had six-pack abs, and I certainly wasn't always a guy that was in the pinnacle of health. Far from it. I used to be obese, and I had a heart attack, and I have 4 autoimmune diseases, and I was born with a genetic bad spoon in my mouth. Now, that's, by the way, all of that's true. All of what I just said is true, and that would be that's just, I'm not reading a script. I'm just literally, I know the story so well. I'm just telling you the story. So in a fitness book that I'm writing, I might come out and say that. That's a very modest way of introducing myself. I didn't say, hi, my name is John Benson. I have 4 degrees from this. I'm an expert in kinesiology. I'm this. You can say those things, but not there. You don't want to say it too quickly. Now, if you have something that's like a stellar, awesome thing, like, hi, I'm Dr. John Benson, that's great. My PhD was in kinesiology. That's not true, by the way. And, you know, I wasn't always. And then you go into that, I wasn't always technique. I wasn't always blank. Because when you say to somebody, I wasn't always rich and famous, or I'm making this up, it wasn't always rich and famous. In fact, I used to live on the sidewalk. That makes them think, wow, if this guy can do it, I can do it. And it starts building that rapport right away. And that moves us into the section called the nightmare story. What is a nightmare story? A nightmare story is where you hit rock bottom. And in the end of the nightmare story, it follows the hero's journey, if you know that tale. The warrior's journey is another way of saying it. It's an age-old, goes back literally to the Epic of Gilgamesh. Okay, this is not anything new. I've just condensed it and made it a little simpler to follow. So when you go into this, you're going to start with, you know, I wasn't always blank. In fact, I'm going to tell, and this is the overview. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story about how blank happened to me and how that blank resurrected my life and put me where I am today. So I'll often say, so if you think you've got it bad, if you think that you've struggled with weight loss, just wait till you hear this. And then you go into the introduction. So that was just a brief overview of what I'm going to cover. I don't give away any fancy details. And the introduction part of this is very, very simple. This begins with you saying things like, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was October the 7th, 1994. And me and my friend Steve were driving in a car. And by the way, there's formulas for all of this already in here. I literally tell you just stuff you can use. You don't have to use this stuff, but it gets you to think. It gets you to think. And obviously, if you click down here, you'll see there's just tons and tons of copy examples. Like I keep scrolling. But the idea is to get your idea wrapped around the concept of, how do I tell a story? Great stories usually start with some sort of a factual narrative. Like it was, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a very sunny day in October, and you could just, or that just makes it a very plausible story. So that's just, I like to start stories like that, and I say, and who you're with, what were you wearing, if that matters. That might not matter to your story, or it may. You know, and then you can start, when you start piecing these puzzles together, these pieces of the story element together, you can really get a good feel for how a really cool story goes. How it makes, when you're watching a movie, what makes a movie gripping? What makes a movie go beyond like a boring movie to something that grips you? This is a very simplistic and very sales-friendly version of that. So that's the introduction. You're setting up the narrative, and then you're going to get to what I call the bad part. Something bad is happening. This is where you start your downward spiral into your rock bottom moment. And by the way, if you don't have a rock bottom moment, I've yet to meet anyone who really doesn't, but let's say that you don't want to do that, like you're selling a service. Talk about the rock bottom moment of one of your clients. Look, I made this work for a dry cleaners. Just so you know, like a dry cleaner guy said, oh, there's no way I have a nightmare story. Oh, really? Because I got one for you. I just took a $2,000 suit to a dry cleaner and they ruined it. And so he used that as the nightmare story, because that happens all the time. My customers come to me and say, yeah, they ruined this very expensive clothing. And so I just helped him write a story around it. And presto, everyone was going, oh, that's happened to me. See, there's a nightmare story behind every single product or service out there. Either it's your customer's nightmare story. It could be a horrible experience they had with a hotel. Maybe you own a hotel. It could be a horrible experience they've had with weight loss. Maybe you have a weight loss book, or dating, or going down the line, finances. These are easy stories to tell. And at the end of today, I'll take any challengers. Oh, I don't have one. I've yet to fail the test. So let's see if that works. So the bad part is simply where you say, you know what? This one thing. Here's what it all started. You told the story. You set it up, and you go. And this one big thing, this one bad thing was happening. My bad part was like, I started noticing that I'm going to use weight loss as an example, and I was using, in my story, is like me and my friend Steve were driving in a car. It was raining outside, and I said, I started noticing that my belt was so uncomfortable, I had to unbuckle it. And even the first button on my jeans were so uncomfortable, I unbuttoned that button. And I did it really like without Steve noticing, so he wasn't thinking I was trying to do something too strange in the car. But I was that uncomfortable. I was really uncomfortable. And I started thinking to myself, I wonder if it's always going to be this way. Might as well keep getting fatter and fatter. So that's the bad part. That's a very short version of the bad part. Of course, there's more here, but we're just, for time's sake, we're going to go on. The really bad part has all these transitions. It's called a focal point, okay? The focal point is basically what I call the aha moment, that one thing that happened. There's always one thing that happened that made you stop and go, wait, this has to stop. And for me, it sounds like a humorous story, but it wasn't at all. In the story, I said, we pulled into a convenience store because I demanded my nightly sugar fix. And I remember pulling past, there was two street, I called them street hookers at the time. There were two prostitutes literally standing on the street corner. And it crossed my mind that, I'm no different than they are. We're just addicted to two different things. They were obviously addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to sugar. So I'm kind of a sugar whore. And I'm thinking to myself, that was going through my mind when I walked through, I opened the front door to the convenience store. So this is all just walked you through sample slides of how this has been written over literally hundreds of VSLs. And in my story, I said I walked in and I went to get my favorite thing, which was called ding dongs, and I just changed it to donuts because a lot of people don't know what ding dongs were. And I realized I had left my wallet at my office, and I had this big coat on, and my pattern up, by the way, was I have a magic jacket that helps me lose weight. That was my pattern up. So now I'm tying back in the magic jacket. Had this big jacket on because it was cold, it was raining. And you know what? Even though the jacket, I couldn't button all the buttons, I figured, you know what? I've got to have the sugar. So I stole 4 packages of these donuts. And I was so overweight that the guy who looked at me really weird when I walked in to begin with didn't even pay me a second glance when I walked out. And I realized when I got to the car that, wow, I am no different than those girls standing on the corner. I literally am no different. My addiction is something completely different. I just stole something I'd never done before just so I could get a sugar fix. And that leads me to the Declaration of Independence. It was at that moment in my life where I said, you know what? I am going to solve this weight loss riddle even if I die trying. That was my declaration. That was my vow. I'm going to vow to I'm going to vow to figure this out. And not only that, I'm going to vow to do something even bigger, and that's the moral. I'm going to vow that I'm going to share it with as many people as I possibly can. Yeah, I never sought out to be an expert. This is what the reluctant expert is. I never sought out to be an expert in weight loss. But in that moment, I realized that if I don't do something, I'm never going to change, and I'm going to vow to figure it out. And when I do, I'm going to share it with as many people as I can. And that's exactly why you are watching this presentation today. That's a very short version of what a nightmare story is. So you take someone down into the very deep lull of and so the story's kind of gripping us because you think, my God, the guy stole. Now I come back and I say, by the way, I came back the next day and paid the guy and said, look, I took these and I'm sorry, I took them, and so I didn't technically steal them except for one day, but I did borrow them. But nonetheless, that was a really humiliating story, and people they really connected with it. And when I tell the story verbally, I tell the story and you can hear it in my voice. It's emotional. My wife has a nightmare story that makes that look like a Disney fairy tale. And when she tells the story in her bikini butt product, she's crying. And that wasn't staged. She was reading the story, reading the script that she knows very well, but she started crying because the story is horrific. It's just absolutely this really ass boyfriend that she used to have humiliated her in the worst possible way in public, and we put that into the video sales there because she wanted to say, look, you think you've got it bad, just wait till you hear what this guy did to me. So she understands a woman's problems. Well, in the same way I understand a guy's problems, or a girl's problems for that matter, when it comes to, I was stealing sugar. So that's what I meant by nightmare story. Now you have one, or your customer has one. And your task, your homework for today is to figure out, what is that story? You can tell that story, by the way, in 5 slides, in 30 slides. It depends on how gripping it is. If it's not a gripping story, fine. Just tell a very short version of it. Here's a short version of that exact same story. You know, I remember back in October of 1997, a friend of mine, Steve, and I were driving. It was really cold outside, and I pulled into a convenience store to grab some donuts, and then I realized I left my wallet at home. And instead of in the office, and instead of driving back to the office, it was cold and it was sleeting. I decided I have to have my sugar fix, so I'm going to steal those donuts. And I did. And I hid them under my jacket. And that jacket's now become my magic jacket because I keep it to remind me of the horrible weight loss, the horrible body that I was developing for myself, and the horrible addiction that I had. But I walked right through the front door like I didn't even notice, even with all those donuts stuffed underneath me, because I was that fat. And I vowed at that moment that was it. I'm going to find an answer to this. I'm going to share it with you. So there you go. I did that off the top of my head in, what, less than a minute? So they don't have to be long. But that particular nightmare story was like 10 minutes long because it was a great story. We just kept it in there. It's completely up to you. I give you the 10-minute version. You can shorten it to a minute. You can shorten it to less than that if you want to. So from here, we move into the transition to what is the big problem. Now that I've told you.
I have a
question.
Yeah. So hearing these stories, and that was one of my challenges when I was writing my own, or thinking of my own story, you know, presentation on stage. What if I don't feel like my horror story is really horror? Like, I don't think that it's that bad, and do I need to add visuals or dig deeper into my soul to find like a really dark moment? Or
yeah, it's one of the most common questions that I get is like, my horror story isn't that bad. I will promise you, hold that question until the very end, because everyone's going to be asking this. Oh, not everyone, but a lot of people are going to be asking the same question, and I will use you as the case study, because I don't know what your story is, but I will show you how instantly you can take. And by the way, this is what these videos do. They teach you how to pull this out. And also in where we started up here and Get Started, remember we had these notepad assignments. This story assignment helps you figure out your story. So when you get down here, it's not a big mystery. You can figure it out really quickly. So anyway, I will use you, Yafat, as the case study. Fair enough? All right.
No.
So she's scared.
No, guys, I'm not. Yeah, I am scared. I'm not open.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Then I will use. Somebody will be able to come on, and we'll be able to use them as a case study. Okay. So let's talk about the transition, the big problem. The transition is very simple. Okay. Okay. You're just going to say this. I am just like you. So if you're listening to this, certainly you know that you and I have a lot in common. I might even be worse than you. And the only difference between us is that I have a strategy. I figured out a strategy and a blueprint that actually works. That's the transition. And you know what? This system works for just about anyone who tries it. That's an inclusion statement. That's really all this part is. There's some more slides here, but that's really all that is. It's a system that really has been honed and fine-tuned over the years. I'm going to share it with you in a second. And I'm going to share with you also how it helped me shed 37 pounds of unwanted fat within about 3 months. And it's helped the people lose a total of 100,000 pounds. So I can't wait to share that with you. And before I share that with you, I really need to, and I'm just clicking through here, I really need to share with you what the real problem was. Because I thought the big problem was that I was addicted to sugar, and obviously I was, but you know what? That wasn't the big problem. The big problem was much bigger than I thought. And now we're into step 3, which we will cover tomorrow. What is the big problem? So what I've done is I've gone through, I've set up a story, I've made the transition into the next step. I've opened a loop, that's what that's called, so that people are wanting to know, well, hey, if the sugar addiction isn't the big problem, and he obviously had a big-time sugar addiction, what the hell is the big problem? You know, that's going to open that loop. It's going to make people curious. And that's all I did with these last few sections. I hinted at a system. I did not use the name of the book or the name of the system. I didn't say, you know, that's why the every other day diet works so well. No. You're not selling anything yet. You're talking about a vague idea. Look, I came up with a blueprint that worked for me, and I swore that I would share it with you. And that's why I'm doing this right now. And the results of that blueprint, phenomenal. It's helped me get into the, and you could show the before and after pictures, in the best shape of my life, but it's also helped many other before and after pictures get in the best shape of their lives. I'm going to tell you all about that blueprint in just a moment, but first we need to talk about what the real problem is. Why I couldn't lose the weight and why you couldn't lose the weight either. It's not what you think it is. So this is the system. It's so easy now. It's so in the head, because it's all the copies in here, by the way, that I can just rattle it off the top of my head. So once you have a blueprint, as you can see, this is just that one step two, it makes copywriting much, much, much easier. The creative part of this whole element is the nightmare story, and even that can be reduced to a minute or two. So that's the only creative section in this entire part, is that nightmare story. Meaning that if you want to get creative and tell a cool story, great, just follow that formula, or follow a formula that you think is going to be effective. But just make sure that you include it here. That's the most important thing, right after your introduction and before you start talking about any sort of system. That's very important. Okay, so that was step two, the vital connection. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to come over here, and we're going to take questions. And yeah, Fat, I can't believe you chickened out on me. I was going to use you as the case study, but that's okay. I'm sure we're gonna get a case study. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a couple of questions, and then I'm going to give you the offer for the day. I'm going to give you the and a lot of people tuned in today just to watch the VSL that I've written for this. So if you guys watched it yesterday, watch it again, and then check out the final offer at the very end and see how easy it is. I'm just reading this live. I'm reading it live, and a lot of people were commenting, by the way, about how I read. So when I read, you'll notice that I will speed up at times, and then I will slow down, and I will emphasize, and then I will speed up again. That's called the vocal tonality technique. And if you look over here again, I want to show you something, because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, you're a professional reader, right? No, I'm not a professional reader. I just took some lessons, and I've condensed those lessons down into what we call the 3X vocal tonality technique. And that is right here, along with a lot of other bonus videos, by the way, the tonality technique video. So you watch that video. It's extremely concise. It's about 30 minutes long, and it will teach you a little system that I came up with on how to punctuate and elongate certain words, which ones you should elongate and which ones you should punctuate. Once you get good at it, you don't even need that anymore. Like, I don't use it anymore because I just know it by heart. So that is coming up. Isn't that cool? So tomorrow, you're going to be here for the big problem, because when you get into the big problem, things get really fun. And the bigger solution is really fun, and the grand offer, of course, is the final day, and that is the pitch. So, Yafat, over to you. We're going to let one or two questions come in, and then I'm going to dive into the presentation, and then we'll take all your questions.
Okay, so we have a volunteer for the horror story.
Good, good. Now, hold it. I want to make sure this is someone that does not think they have one, right?
I don't know. Bradley, I don't know if he thinks he has one. He says, I volunteer for the nightmare story. It's truly a nightmare, seriously. So.
No, if you know what it is, Bradley, I can't. No, I want someone that does not think that they have one. Someone that is like, man, I like Yafat. Come on, brave up. Let's use you. I can do this so quickly.
I know, but I'm like, I just don't know how. I know you are such a master of words. I am so worried that you're gonna describe my horror story so horribly that I'm gonna have nightmares about it.
No, I'll be kind and gentle, I promise. Okay, if you don't want to do it, somebody out there is going, I don't have a horror story or a nightmare story, or I don't think it's appropriate for my business. I've heard that too. Oh yeah, because your business is to aliens and the rest of us market to humans. I mean, yeah. No, it's completely appropriate. You just have to massage certain things. There are some things you'd want to like massage.
I have one. Okay, I have one that is okay. Okay. That I don't think it's a horror story. I think it's maybe okay. We can do that. We can do me.
Okay.
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to open it?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Then we're going to get into the.
Okay. So my horror story, I think, is that I suck at social media, and I don't know if that's that much. I suck at social media. I was never very successful with it, and I don't speak fake, so I can do Facebook. I don't speak in 140 character, obviously, and I don't do resume, so LinkedIn doesn't work. And then I found my family in Google Plus. Now I don't know if that's in a,
That's easy.
you
My
know,
God, really?
you know what
That's
came out from that? Someone told me, he goes like, I'm listening to you,
okay.
and I think you have issues with intimacy.
All right, here we yeah, oh, intimacy issues. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen, and why just go right to now the copy would already be in here, but I know it by heart, so I'm not going to show it to you. So here we go from the top. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to speak. I'm pretend I'm Yafet. I wasn't always known as the Google Plus queen. I wasn't always known as the go-to person to go to for Google Plus. In fact, I actually sucked at social media for a long, long, long time. In fact, I can remember this like it was yesterday. I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were commenting on how I couldn't write 140 character Twitter feed if my life depended on it. And yet, all the social media was going by me, and I was really getting concerned that, you know what? My business is suffering because everybody's doing all this great stuff in social media, and I was just bombing at it. In fact, I tried this Facebook thing once, and oh my God, I got so much hate mail and just zero response to my offers. I thought, okay, there's just no way in hell I'm ever going to be able to do this. So I decided to actually betray my conscience, and I decided to do something I thought I would never do. I decided to post something that looked really, really spammy just to see if it would get attention. And I felt like crap afterwards because that's not who I am. I'm a real person, an ethical person. And I declared at that moment, you know what, I'm never going to do this again. I'm going to figure out a solution to this if I have to die trying. The good news is that I did figure it out, obviously, because you're watching me, and I swore that I would teach it to the people that would listen, so that's fantastic. But okay, so there you go. Right. How long did that take? I mean, I did all the copies already in, all the ideas are already there. It's in a formula. So it was very easy for me to do this. Now, granted, I don't expect it to be as easy for you guys to do it right off the top, but I promise you, if you do this 2 or 3 times, it'll just roll off that easy.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Now, but
And
wasn't that a
it's
good?
true, and it's true, and you were not lying. I really do suck at it. So probably if you guys can relate, come over.
See, now, okay, let me ask everyone out there, didn't that make Yafet look even more accessible? She's so accessible as she is already, but knowing that, wait, the person who's really the best Google Plus person out there didn't know jack shit about social media, and then she was failing in Facebook, and I mean, so that's what a nightmare story is. A nightmare story doesn't have to be like an existential dilemma that oh my God, I almost died or something like that. That's not what this is. All it is a fun way of telling how you got to where you got, because no one got to where you are success-wise without going through a valley. No one. Now, I don't think anyone just goes like this, right? If you do, you're kind of boring. And so, I mean, people like to hear that, I struggled too. So yeah, I can do this for anyone, and it's very, very simple to do. And just now that you guys have that video template and you saw me do it for myself, you saw me do it for Yafet without knowing any of the details of her story. So I made stuff up because I don't know that any of that's true. But the point is that probably 80% of it is, and the other 20% she could fill in. And I went really, really fast. So I didn't elaborate on a story at all. She may have a really awesome story in there, like that would take 4 or 5 minutes to share. I mean, some of the best video sales letters have long stories, have long nightmare stories. You might have a product or a service that fits that really well. Dating products fit that really, really well. Supplement products can fit that well. Weight loss products fit that well. Stuff that were financial products fit that well. So if you're in any of those fields, I mean, there's a lot of fields that fit longer nightmare stories because people really want to know that you can relate to their pain. So let me end this section by saying what we said yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. Your goal as a marketer is to make your prospect feel completely understood. And if you cannot make he or she feel understood by saying, I've been in your shoes, you've got a long, long, huge mountain to climb, or tall mountain to climb, rather, because you don't have a frame of reference. So I'm going to liken this analogy, excuse me for using fitness a lot, but that's my background, where I came from. It's like, and I talk about this in my books, it's like, who do you think you should listen to? A professional trainer who's never been fat a day in his life, who woke up this morning with abs and woke up when he was 16 with abs and woke up when he was 7 and noticed he had abs, or a guy that used to be obese that figured out how to get abs over the age of 40? Who do you think knows more about you? And that is an absolute factual statement. I mean, I can't tell you how many personal trainers I know that don't know jack crap about fitness. They don't. Because they are training themselves. They're genetic anomalies, and they don't know it. And sometimes they're too arrogant to admit it. And so they think, oh, everyone should do 20 sets per body part and train 2 hours a day. That's how I got in shape. Well, yeah, that's because you're a genetic gift. 99% of the people out there aren't like that. So you should listen to the people who were not genetic gifts who figured that out. Well, the same thing is true in business. You should listen to the people who didn't succeed at first but then figured it out. It's like taking investment advice from Warren Buffett. Okay? Big picture stuff, maybe that's a good idea. Everyday guys, you don't stand a chance. I mean, he couldn't teach you anything about investment, nor could Donald Trump teach you anything about real estate, because he was born into a family that was already a real estate multimillionaires. I mean, well, he didn't start from the ground up. He started with a silver spoon in his mouth. So you want to listen to people you want to tell the story of however it happens, whether it's a customer, whether it's a friend of yours, whether it's you. I started from the ground, and I worked my way up. In that story. But then working your way up is a good story, but working your way down is so much better. Like, look, I wasn't always here. I used to be here. Man, it got even worse, and then all of a sudden you come up like this. So all story arcs go like this. All good story arcs. Look at any good movie, any good series, and tell me one series that goes like this. Just one. I'll take one. One good television show or movie that just has nothing but positive things to say. Well, I mean, you know, even Disney films have down moments. I mean, you know, and so
Talk about
that's what we're
down
doing.
moments, you know, it's like The Lion King, the dad dies, right? It's like some of the Disney movies you're like, how is it for kids? Yeah.
I never saw The Lion King, but I'll take your word for it. So I know it's true. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to read this to you, and I'm going to show this to you. And today, there's going to be even more people that join the Accelerator family. If you didn't join yesterday and you're thinking, oh man, I lost out on all that, well, I got something for you today too. Something really, really juicy and cool. And I want to tell you, after you've been listening to this and after you've been seeing, now you saw again today, step 2 inside the Accelerator, what that would walk you through. Of course, we didn't go through all the videos because we don't have time for that. We didn't go through all the copy, but you get the gist. You get the gist of what we're going to do. So right now, a lot of people are asking the same question that they were asking yesterday. How much is this going to cost? Well, watch this short presentation and see how you can get Accelerator for free. Yes, I did say free. I know you're curious. So here's what I mean by that. Now you've seen the Accelerator in action, and you've experienced a small fraction of the automated selling power that Accelerator delivers to online business owners around the globe. And now you know beyond any doubt that you're the most vital component in your marketing arsenal is your sales copy. Beyond any doubt. Every marketing pro in the world will agree with that statement. I challenge you to find one that will not, and frankly, only a fool or a dreamer would dare to dispute it. However, the most shocking thing you'll see today isn't the Accelerator, as cool as it is. It's the fact that the Accelerator actually costs you nothing at all. So just relax. Chill out. It's not going to cost you anything at all. It's 100% free the second time you use it. Here's what I mean. A video sales letter or a sales page is a $30,000 to $50,000 proposition. And that's assuming that you were lucky enough to find a decent B-level copywriter, because that's about what they charge. And that you have the time that it will take them to research your product. Time is money. Get to know your personal story and do the research that you're going to have to pay for out of your own pocket, and finally sit down and write your VSL for you. Wow, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and this process not only costs you upwards of 50 grand, it costs you time. And everyone knows that time equals money. That's as solid as E equals MC squared. Time equals money, especially in the hyper-evolving world of internet marketing. Another thing, you won't learn a damn thing having someone like a hired gun spend months and months on your video sales letter. You won't learn anything. So what does that mean? That means you'll have to repeat the process, paying someone else to do your stuff for you over and over and over again, because guess what? Even the best VSLs and sales letters have a half-life. They all run out of juice eventually, even the best ones. As the world's top paid VSL copywriter and the creator of the VSL, I think I'm more than qualified to tell you the truth about what you're really up against. You either nail your sales message right now, ASAP, or you drive another nail into your internet coffin. It's really that simple. Your situation really is that dire, and sugarcoating the problem, while it may sound nice, isn't going to serve you at all. Remember, sales copy is the oxygen of your business. That's a quote from a few days ago, and it's so true. Sales copy is the oxygen of your business, and without a cash cow VSL working for you 24/7 around the clock, your business is starved of the oxygen it requires to survive. It's very, very common sense. Death is inevitable when oxygen is deprived, right? Unless you can hold your breath for a long time. Now, there is good news for those that do want to breathe new life into your online sales. Celerator has what I call zombie-like powers. It really does. It resurrects the sales of just about every product or service it touches, and giving you new life in the form of oxygen-rich cash windfalls. My 5-step VSL formula found within the Celerator continues to be the 911 sales savior for a lot of marketers. And this is for dead in the water marketers from every part of the globe. And sure, while Celerator has helped propel the world's top marketers to even greater levels of success, guys like Ryan Deiss, who he uses the Celerator and the Celerator tools in-house, this is what they write all of their multi-million-dollar VSLs with. Andy Jenkins, who uses beautiful on-camera video and then closes with a video sales letter. He says it just really makes it so simple. You know, that's what it's about. Time is money. Perry Marshall, one of my personal heroes, came up to me and said, John, I couldn't stop watching your VSL trading videos, and I never watch anyone's stuff. I'm just too busy. Stuff's outstanding. Vin DiCarlo, Pandora's Box, $50 million a year VSL. Walked right through Celerator to write it. He shows you all the steps, how to go through it from start to finish. Mike Palmer, Agora Research, author of the 9-figure End of America video sales letter. Even Mike is getting an incredible amount of great information out of this work, making a 9-figure sales letter even better. Mike Filsame, Evergreen Business Systems, was able to write the first VSL he'd ever written. He's one of the most famous marketers in the world, never written a VSL. He did it in one day using the Celerator, one day. Dozens of other 8- and 9-figure marketers I could list off, but you know what? That said, that's really not what matters to you. What really matters to you, in my opinion, is Celerator's real success and its ability to give everyday entrepreneurs and business owners just like you a fair and realistic shot at big-time sales success. I think that's the best anyone will ever do for you, give you a good, realistic, fair shot. And it's going to do it by giving you the power of words that get cash in a proven, nearly automatic platform that requires virtually no writing skills whatsoever. Does it require work? You bet it does. Everything requires work. The email that you're going to write today requires work. Driving home from the office requires work. Everything requires work. This just makes the work as easy as it's going to ever get. That means the moment that you use the Celerator, it literally pays for itself and then some. The moment that VSL hits the internet, that is your cash cow, often exponentially generating far more profits than your initial small investment, while letting you keep making profits for as long as you own your business, and that's huge. Otherwise, you're just going to be paying more and more fees out to people. We're talking about no monthly fees, no royalties whatsoever, because copywriters take royalties, no long delays, copywriting takes a long time, and no hoping that some copywriter that maybe you barely know gets your story right. Now remember, any VSL or sales letter is a $30,000 to $50,000 proposition any way you slice the pie. Either you spend that much money or you lose that much money or more by not having one. So even if you just scratch the surface with Celerator and get a mere 10% of that figure, of those proven selling powers for yourself, the Celerator is literally free the second time you use it. Literally. It's a tool that pays for itself rapidly and consistently, as you will soon see. Now, since the Celerator empowers anyone, regardless of your marketing or writing experience, to crank out money printing VSLs and sales pages virtually on autopilot. Yes, you have to click through. Yes, you want to watch the videos. Yes, you want to grasp the concepts. But this is as autopilot as it will ever get. Here's the truth. If that was all that the Celerator and the course materials managed to do for you, it would be an absolute sin to let you have this for under $5,000. It really would be. It's a fraction of what a VSL copywriter would charge you. I've already gone over that. And that is before they take that big old chunk out of your profits forever, by the way, for as long as your VSL is online, for the royalty fees. It's a huge amount of money. However, as you've seen over the past few days, I have a habit of radically over-delivering value. My wife calls it over-delivery syndrome disease. So maybe that's a disease that's a good, bad thing. I think it's a good thing. And you could say that when it comes to giving you more than you expect, I'm a wretched sinner in the best possible way. I say that jokingly. That's why the complete accelerator system you're about to hear about now may not come as that much of a shock to you because you're used to me over-delivering value. But let's start with this. $2,100 investment that I'm going to take out of my pocket and put into your future success. What do I mean? As much as I'd like to promise that you're going to follow through on your own and join the mile-long line of testimonials from guys and gals who range from total newbies, as you're about to meet, now making it online, all the way to the pros that you just saw, I'd love to promise you that. It's just going to be, you get the software and boom, you're off to the races and you're going to completely follow through. You know what? I know for a fact, from doing it myself and from seeing thousands of accelerator members go through, that you need a bit of hand-holding. You do. It's not that you're not smart, it's that you're busy. I get it. That's why when you join the Accelerator family today, you'll not only get all the training videos, the pre-written copy taken from top converting VSL tactics that I've used for years, and that push-button simplicity that you saw that the Accelerator Online proprietary software gives you. Click, save, go, allowing you to just click and save and go right to your VSL-ready PowerPoint or Keynote file. You'll also receive what people are calling an unrealistic, too fantastic to believe, yet 100% factual VIP add-on. 4, count them 4, one-on-one Accelerator implementation and marketing strategy coaching calls. These are personal calls, not a robot, not a team, not a group call, one-on-one implementation calls from my trained Accelerator coaches. Just you and a trained coach. Imagine that, 4 calls, helping you implement your vision from the very start and making sure that you get it done right. Imagine it now, a professional marketing coach helping you from the very start, saving you months, even years of trial and error and frustration, plus giving you their valuable experience on how you can best market and position your product. And if you don't have a product yet, just picture how much faster a coach is going to inspire you to finally get that product done. They're going to let a fire under your butt and get it done for you. So listen, here's a recap of what you're going to receive today. Your lifetime Accelerator VIP user license. That means no monthly Accelerator VSL fees. And your access is guaranteed for the rest of time, as long as you're a member in good standing. While others have paid up to $297 a month for continued Accelerator access, you are locked in for life without continual monthly billing or royalty fees of any kind. If you write $1 million VSL, guess how much money I get from it? Nothing. You keep it all. Plus, 12 hours of the Accelerator Persuasion System video training, the Accelerator copy library that was written by me, including multiple ready-to-use edit samples, go and edit in the samples to every single slide and paragraph of your VSL or sales letter, and a lifetime membership into my exclusive Copy Posse members community, where you can find deals, find affiliate partners, get answers to your most pressing questions. These are people that understand you. They respect you. They know where you are. A lot of them are in the same place. A lot of them have succeeded. They can help inspire you to get there. These guys or girls can answer the questions that you have, the most pressing questions. And it's a form of active members, just hundreds and hundreds of marketers just like you. And so much more. I haven't even began to talk about the bonuses yet. So combine together just that, what you just heard about. The Accelerator VIP membership has a line item value of over $8,500, give or take a few pennies. And that's before all the bonuses that you're about to be handed to you as well. However, your lifetime access to Accelerator VIP isn't going to cost you $8,500 today. It's not even going to cost you half of that, not even $2,500 today. Click on the button on the page that you're watching this video that says, click here now to get 3X Accelerator. Click that button now, or you can open a new browser window right now and go to this hidden page, Accelerator.com, Accelerator.com /deal. /deal, HTTPS in front of that. Accelerator.com /deal, and guess what? You can get it all for $21.97. And you're going to want to do that before it goes to $29.97 February 1st at midnight. It will not come down from $29.97. So you can save $800 right now and get every single thing. Or you can use our installment plan if you would like. It doesn't come with all the bonuses, but you do get the Accelerator. And you do get some of these bonuses. 6 easy payments of only just $397. That's not a payment plan, by the way, that goes on forever. That's just 6 months. 6 easy payments of $397, then you're done. No continual billing. $800 savings over our February 1st price of $29.97. $800 for everything. You get the exact same value as the $29.97 offer. Here's some people that you might not know of because they were newbies. Ken Wood got the 3 accelerators after watching one of my webinars. He rewrote his VSL script using my structure. He created a more story-based, as you can see right here, more story-based VSL, just like we talked about today. Look at this. He calls this one a work of genius because look at the difference. His old VSL, immediate drop-off, all the way to here. His new VSL, look at this. Look at the increase in user retention. Do I have to tell you what that did for his income? I don't think I did. It doubled it. How about this? This is a guy, Eric Wong, Toronto, Canada. HipFlexibilitySolution.com. Launched his first VSL, $110,000 launch. So the $2K or so he invested was more than well worth it. Yeah, you rock. How about this? Does it work in different countries? Well, I think Renish Jain would say that it does because he says using the 3XS, that's 3 accelerator principles, he created a small video for 2 to 3 free strategy sessions. See, it's not just a sales letter you can create. You can use these strategies to create anything that's persuasive. Well, he can't handle, he says, more than 8 clients at a time, but he collected 600 email IDs. Says the framework works like hell. Of course it does. Within 48 hours, maybe 72, given the rush that we're having, after you sign up, you're going to be assigned a personal accelerator coach, a one-on-one personal accelerator coach. And within days from now, you'll be well on your way to having a high-converting VSL working for you. That's what I want for you. And before I cover my etched in iron guarantee, have a look at these rather insane bonuses that I have lined up for the fast action takers. And 2 of them are only for people that take action today. This means those who act before that we raise the price between $29.97 on February 1st for some of the bonuses, but for the last 2 bonuses is for people that act today. Here we go. 4 free gifts to accelerate your online business success, to accelerate that trajectory toward freedom of lifestyle, income, and security that you're rightfully owed. It's about time you take what you rightfully owed. Here's the bonuses that's going to help you. I mentioned the Copy Posse Facebook group. This is a private members only. If I did a membership, it'd be $297 a month. It's yours free. This is where you make the deals, make the connections, make the friends, get the advice. And guess who's in there almost every day? Me. If you go into the Copy Posse right now, you'd see post after post from me, and there is no robotic John. It's really me. I answer the questions, and I'm $5,000 an hour to consult with. I give it to you guys, the Copy Posse, for free. Bonus number 2. Hey, John, I don't have a product. I don't have a product. Well, guess what? 28 days from now, you can. The 28-day product creation formula takes you literally day by day. Day 1 of week 1, day 1 of week 2, etc., all the way to from concept to cash, as I call it. That's $497 sell price on that. I'm giving it to you for free to make sure that you have a product that you can really sell well. And that will also help you refine some of the products that you might already have to make them sell even better. Bonus number 3 is crazy. Crazy. This was an upsell for a long time. I'm giving it to the members just for the hangout. $100 million Conversion Secrets Video Vault Series. What is that? 8 hours, yes, 8 hours of me teaching the top 30 copywriters and marketers on the planet all of these high converting secrets to make their VSLs and sales pages convert even better. Remember that 9-figure Porter Stansberry VSL? Mike Palmer was in that room. Joe Barton, blood pressure, diabetes VSL, again, $20, $30 million VSL. Joe's in that room. We dissect the VSL. Robin Robbins, Vin DiCarlo, down the line. Unbelievable marketers all in the boardroom offices in Connecticut, and I teach them for 8 hours. You get the entire video for free. Perry Marshall said just watching these videos alone was worth 10 times what I'm charging for the course. That's how valuable that bonus is. And then we have bonus number 4. Before the hangout is over tonight, that means that by the end of the day, by the way, because I know that some of you will be watching this on replay, is I'm still going to include the Traffic Pros Crash Course. $9.97 value, yours free. When I tell you the value price, this is the price we sell this stuff for. It's not some made up value. This is the stuff we actually sell. Okay? 10 videos would be talking to the top traffic guys in the world for free traffic, paid traffic, social media traffic, so that you can take that traffic worry out of your equation. Why not listen to the pros? They've already figured it out. Hell, I don't know half the stuff that I was learning from interviewing these guys. It was amazing. Just one of these videos alone changed the way I looked at YouTube videos forever. $9.97 value, yours completely free if you get it today before the hangout is over. And now, the one that's not on this, the one that this is the mystery bonus. It's good for anyone who pays in full before the end of today. Again, we have to put a time limit on this, folks. I'm sorry, we have to put a time limit on it because this is man hours. We sell this for $1,500. Okay? That's what we sell this for. But you have to get it before the end of the day, and just to be clear, if you're watching this later, January 28th, 2015. Midnight Pacific Standard Time. $1,500 personal bonus. What is it? A 30-minute copywriting strategy session one-on-one with one of my copy pros. Yesterday it was me. Today it's one of my pros. Guys that have gone through my certification program, paid big money to go through it. They paid 20 grand to go through it. And I'm going to set you up with them for free. We charge $1,500 to have them get on the phone with anyone and say, hey, let's strategize your copy. Let's walk you through the accelerator. Let's make sure that we know where the copy is. Remember, we have implementation coaches, but they're not copywriters. Here's a copywriter, a genius wordsmith that's going to sit down with you one-on-one for 30 minutes and go over your strategy with you. How is that for an awesome bonus? But you got to act today. And guess what? There is another stipulation for this. Sorry, guys. This is for full pay only. Just like yesterday, we're only giving this away for full pay only. You can understand why. A 6 pay of $397, something may happen. It doesn't usually happen, but something may happen where all 6 don't go through. That's not fair to us, and you know that. And I think that you know that we're fair people. So when you pay in full today, we'll give you that 30-minute copywriting strategy. We'll have it set up with you within 3 weeks, maybe 4 at the absolute outside, hopefully even sooner than that if you act fast. That's my promise to you. That's the mystery bonus for today. It doesn't get better than that. And guess what? You want more testimonials? We've got literally over 100 on the sales page on our main page. But hey, I'm just going to give you a few. Ben Pottinger from Australia, boom. ROI, how much did he make back from the investment? 1,399% back. Took him 2 weeks working part-time to script record and upload the VSL, knew nothing about it beforehand, and boom, 1,399% ROI. Just do the math and you'll figure out how much money that is. Giancarlo, my friend, he says he has a VSL. I go talk to him. I say, no, you don't have a VSL. You followed some crappy non-formula. Take my formula. He did it again with my method, generated $40,000 in the first week. He wasn't doing that in months. Think he's a happy camper? Absolutely. John Stolt, holy smokes, I'm using email. I'm using the Accelerator to write email copy. You know, well, guess what? You guys, I didn't even mention this, but I just uploaded for free for you guys the email formulas. Yeah, you get those videos for free. You get all 5 videos in my email formula templates for free inside Accelerator so that you can actually write emails with the effectiveness of the same kind of formulaic structure that we're talking about. I mean, we cover every base in here. So right now, click on the button that says click here now to get 3x Accelerator. And if you do that, or if you want to open a new browser window, this is the page you go to, https Accelerator.com, Cellerator.com/deal. It's yours today for $21.97, or take the 6 pay option for $3.97. Pay a little bit more, but you get the same product. How is that for a deal, Yvette?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I have never seen, guys, anyone offering so much value. I mean, yesterday's offer, just talking to you for 30 minutes, that was more than what they would have paid for the VSL. So this is really no-brainer. Guys, click on it. So refresh the page. The link to join the Hangout is available. Right now it's active below the video. So refresh the page and you can join us and ask us any questions. You will also see the link to buy the Accelerator. It's either to the right of right of there.
There it is.
Right.
Point to your head.
Or the bottom, this is the easiest one, right below the
That's
bottom
right.
part of the page, you're gonna see a direct link to save $800 now and get all the bonuses that you want. So while we are waiting for people to join us, John, there are a few questions coming up. One of them is that they, hold on a second. Chris is saying, so much of the marketing tools are about emotional consumer sales. How would this software service work for non-emotional B2B sales?
Oh man, I love that question. Steve, was it? Was it Steve?
Chris.
Chris, I'm so sorry. Steve just popped up into the view thing, so I got distracted. Whoa, I went fuzzy. There, I'm back into normal. Okay, so yes, okay, Chris, I love that question because it assumes something that is not that's not a true assumption. So if you want to give me a specific, if you could come on camera, I would actually address it very specifically for you. But I do get it all the time. It assumes that business owners aren't emotional. So in other words, it assumes guys like me have no emotions. There's always one guy that makes the decision, one girl that makes the decision, right? They are the same emotionally driven creatures as everybody else. And so if you put in just a little bit of rapport, you will blow their mind because everybody else is coming into their offices and going, my system does this, that, and the other, and you want your ROI to go up, don't you? And oh, isn't this awesome? And they're bored to freaking death of that. When you come in there and you pull what I call a madman scheme, if you ever watched the series Mad Men, when Don Draper came in and he just gave this emotional speech and just blew everybody away because they were used to hearing this tried and true, just trite nonsense. You don't have to go overly emotional. You don't have to do like what we did in the Nightmare Story, but just telling a little bit of one, oh man, it will blow your sales all out of the water. It really will, because people will relate. People are still they're making the decision. They're making the decisions based on the same emotional triggers that have been documented since the time of the Greeks. We're not changing. We're not evolving that quickly. So yeah, the same influences work. So B2B, B2C does not really matter. All I would do for B2B is simply alter the personal nature of it and turn it into a customer nature. So in other words, I wouldn't tell my personal story. I would say, listen, so you would tell your clients, I would phrase it like this, and I would do research and say, listen, one of your clients, Mark, had a really terrible experience with one of your competitors. He said blank, and he did blank, and then Mark felt blank. How many marks do you think that you have? And then you go right into back to your business pitch. All I did was take the business stuff and make it more personal.
I love that because you're right, business is personal, and because B2B really misses that personal touch, using that personal touch actually makes you a much better marketer and salesperson.
I agree. Could not agree more. I mean, if you put me as a salesperson into a room with your average B2B guy with a board and just give me nothing at all, I guarantee you that I'd do a better job. Now, it's not me being arrogant. It's just that I know persuasion. I know how to talk to human beings. And human beings are all persuaded by the same thing. I mean, that's the beauty of it is that we are all persuaded by the same 10 or 12 overriding factors that trigger ourselves. That Joe Sugarman literally calls them triggers, and I think he's right on the money. There are triggers that create sales. And the good thing about Accelerator is it's got those triggers built into the copy that's generated, so you don't have to know what they all are. You just have to know that they exist and that you should definitely use them. And there are certain triggers that are just undeniable. Undeniable. Let me give you one last tip, and we got to move to the next question. When you present, no matter what you do, whether you use Accelerator or whether you try it on your own, the word "you," we've talked about this in a couple of days ago, the word "you" can almost not be overdone. I've used "you" 6 times, 7 times in a sentence that had 16 words, and no one notices. Your subconscious notices, but the rest of you doesn't notice. So it's very interesting. So that, again, is rapport building. That, again, is emotional stuff because people love the word "you." They just do. So it's little things like that that you'll learn, and then you'll learn big things like sentence structure, embedding commands, and all that kind of stuff that you learn inside Accelerator that you can use for anything. So great question. Thank you. Okay, let's take on our new question and answers. We're going to take on our new people. We got make sure that we get to everyone that has not asked a question can come on. And if you have a pressing question and we run out of time, then we'll take anyone.
So this one is, I was hoping that Susan is going to jump on the Hangout, but this is the question she put in the comment. Susan Parnabai, I believe. How do you protect yourself when using a nightmare story? I have been badly hurt by someone for telling my story because of the way it reflected on them. I was then blasted by them, so now I'm very wary and I no longer have any contact with them.
Hmm. That's a great question. I would use an example story from somebody else. You would say like let me tell you the story about my friend Susan or my friend Bob or whatever your product may be dealing with. Certainly, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you can injure somebody else. That's never the intent here at all. My nightmare story had no injury to anyone. There, you can certainly have a nightmare story that doesn't have injury. If it's a personal thing, like I'm just going to make this up. Like I have a girlfriend of mine who has a dating product for women looking for men. It's exactly the opposite of what most dating products are. And she talks a lot about being wounded by guys in the past and how she would meet these guys she thought were nice guys, and she was date raped once, and she had these horrible experiences. And so in her nightmare story, she said, I won't tell you the guy's name, but I can tell you this horrible thing that happened. Unless it was so specific that it could only be one person, then there's no legality thing there for sure. But the other thing you can do is simply to say, look, I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine and I'm sure you can relate to this. So many women I know do blank, and then you tell that story, and that completely, of course, if it's a really specific story, you'd want to talk to that person, but try to use just a general story. Like most products and services have a general storyline behind them that works. Like for example, dating, they have a horrible dating experience, and hotels, they have a horrible hotel experience, and so you can just tell a story that's general that a customer might say.
That is good. I know a lot of people, me myself included, that are very worried about revealing personal stuff, obviously, and
But
with
how?
the reaction that people get.
Oh, come on, come on. What we did with you earlier? Are you kidding me? I'd love to see the comments. Did that make you fat more relatable or less? And was it too personal or not? I don't think anyone out there would say, "Oh yeah, that's way TMI." No one.
No, no, no. But I have my own personal horror stories that I'm not comfortable yet sharing, and I just, I always wonder how deep into the rabbit hole do you need to go?
Yeah,
And the question
yeah.
is, the main reason is because I know that there's a healing process in it as well, right? For yourself, actually, not keeping secrets, coming out with stuff, talking about it,
Okay.
it
Can
connects,
I
right?
tell us?
Yeah.
Can I sorry, I interrupted you. I didn't because there was a lag. I apologize. I want to tell, especially for the ladies listening, there's a lot of them. So I want to just tell you this very brief story. Then we'll take the next question. My wife Andrea is a notoriously private person, except for our groups that are who we call our family. It's like our tribe. Then we're extremely open. But she was very, very conscientious about coming out and saying some of the things that she said in some of her marketing. And her marketing, when we met, was like everything's glowing and awesome and it's beautiful and love and light and all this kind of stuff. And that's so much a part of her beautiful personality. But there was a side of her that women were like going, wow, I can never be her because there's no way. She's got it all together. And I said, babe, if you ever decide to become transparent, really transparent like you are with me, with your audience, I can help you word it to where it's protective, but it's and what she decides to do, because she's the bravest woman I've ever met, she decides to go completely transparent in her first national magazine cover that she ever got, and they wanted an article, and she wrote this article, and I helped her wordsmith the article a little bit, but she was like, yeah, I was addicted to diet pills. I've struggled with alcoholism. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you, it's like, she has none of that now in her life, but I couldn't believe that she went down the rabbit hole, grabbed the rabbit, and dug a few feet deeper. And you know what the response was? Overwhelming love from women. Went nuts. Okay, she got a letter from the editor of the magazine saying, your story still haunts me. It just made me look at my own life and realize, wow, I really need to be more transparent in my own relationships. Thank you for being so brave. So that's usually the response that you're going to get. It's only the assholes in the world that would say, oh gosh, there's so much information. Well, then that's not someone you want to talk to. I don't know about, now don't get me wrong, you don't want to come up to total strangers and go, let me tell you all my problems. It's the way that it's phrased inside the story that made it completely relatable, because here she is on the cover of a fitness magazine for crying. How many people could do that? Very few people could do that. And telling the story like that was just so emotional. And it was also very factual. She went into all the other stuff that, I do this and this is great, and all the good stuff too. It can't be all that. So I want to share that story, first of all, because I'm so proud of my wife, and second of all, I think it's awesome to inspire you to just dig a little deeper. I think if you dig a little deeper and you come out, you'll hear stuff. I mean, you'll hear me talk about my own personal stuff all the time. Within, there's a limit to where I go, where obviously you don't go beyond your family. But where that line is, it can move that way. And I think that when you do, people will really relate to you. And here's what will happen for sure: you'll build raving fans. If you don't have the book Open Click Buy, I talk a lot about raving fans. In fact, I do it in a very funny and sometimes very brutal way. But that's really what I'm all about: is creating raving fans and ignoring everybody else. And I think that's what you should be about. So there you go. I'm off the soapbox now.
I agree with you. I agree. It's a process. Like the accelerator, it's a process. You start somewhere and you get somewhere. Let's start with Steven, because Steven, I did not see you here before. So Steven, try to speak. Steven? Green screen you?
Steven, are you there?
No. Okay. In that case, how about Bradley? Bradley, unmute yourself. Unmute.
I see him talking.
Yeah, you need to unmute yourself, Bradley.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hey, there you are.
Sorry about that. How you doing, John?
Hey, good, Bradley. How are you, man?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. Thank you. Also, how dare you not use my name in an email? I was offended.
I was offended.
Man,
Yeah.
was I offended.
I got the emails on myself, and I offended myself. So that's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I always try to cut the air. Honestly, I see I seen VSLs, for 6, 7, 8 years now, or 6 years, a good 6 years now, and I see they're not necessarily hosted. And I know you've kind of answered this for me, or you suggest this for me, but I see that they're not particularly hosted on YouTube or Vimeo. When you're doing a complete sales page,
Yeah.
It doesn't have the YouTube box or what have you. And I know there are ways to remove that box, but still yet, it's out on YouTube. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because you can monetize your description box SEO-wise. Where would you recommend hosting the VSLs that I will come up with?
Wistia. Wistia is who we use. It's a pay-to-play game, like a lot of high-end hosters, but Wistia can expand their bandwidth. So if you're driving traffic and you're getting 100,000 hits a day, you're not going to want to use YouTube, and for multiple reasons. Now, I can go into the pros and cons of using YouTube, one of them being it's free. But Wistia gives you analytic reports that's much deeper than YouTube. You can see, in fact, one of the testimonials I showed you was a Wistia analytic report. It says here's where people are falling off, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with API. That's technical jargon for, like, you can set it up to where you can use Flow Player as well to do this, by the way. You can set it up to where if someone falls off at 5 minutes, you can email them and say, hey, I noticed you only watched 5 minutes of the VSL. Can you? Here's an article on what you missed or something. You can get really, really, really specific with that. I like Wistia. They're simple. The code is very simple. It's very user friendly. But there are other sources out there that do host video. There used to be one called I think Easy Video Pro. I think it was what they used to be called. Flow Player is a player that you can host and then host your video on Amazon. So Amazon's a cheaper player, a little cheaper than Wistia, and then you could use Flow Player to actually put the video inside. Those are all covered, by the way, inside the Producing Your VSL. There are the videos inside Accelerator that will teach you how to do that. And there's a lot of guys on the Copy Posse that if you say, hey, where do you host it? Here's where I host it. That being said, let me just say this. I've got a video sales letter hosted on Wistia, on Vimeo, and I've got one that we're going to host on YouTube. One of the guys that I just got an email from probably a month ago from Evan. Evan's a good friend. Evan Pagan's a good friend of mine, and Evan sent me, because I'm on his list. I got this video, and when Evan sends something out, I go, I know it's good because Evan doesn't promote anything that's good. So I clicked on it, and I noticed that the guy had I forget what they call it. I think it's lead player. It's not Lead Pages, but Lead Player that you can hide the YouTube logo, and you have to mouse over it to see it. So you couldn't tell it was a YouTube video. Yeah, and yeah, the problem is that it's not as fast as Wistia, and if you get like lots and lots of hits, it's going to be a problem. But if you've got like average number of hits getting your site, and you're just getting off the ground, host it on YouTube and just hide the player. You have to get Lead Player, right? I believe that's what it's called. You guys can mark me if I'm wrong, but there is a player out there that will remove all the YouTube stuff. They can still click on that bottom right banner and go to YouTube, but they don't see the YouTube logo. And oh, by the way, there's a big trick to that. They do see the YouTube logo, so if you want to film it with a white background, so that the YouTube, because it turns the YouTube logo white, so that's the trick to it. I was like, how did that guy hide the YouTube logo? Well, that's the trick. It never showed up, and then it does show up for like 5 seconds and then goes away with this software. So that's one way to host it on YouTube, and then you do of course get the benefit of having it for free. And yes, you can monetize your YouTube channel. Great question. So thanks a lot for asking.
All right, thank you. We still with a W, right?
Yeah, with WISTIA.com. Cool. Thank you, Bradley.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you got it.
So the next new person that just showed up is Stephen Morrow. So Stephen, turn on your camera. Can we hear you now? I saw you pop in before. Stephen? Stephen?
There he is.
Here you are. Okay. And we can't hear you yet. Let's try again. Speak.
Hello.
There you go.
Stephen?
Go for it.
You're on, my friend.
Just on watching at the minute.
Do you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. So would you mind just dropping off and letting other people who do have questions come in? Because the Hangout is full. And then,
well, it's good to meet you, Stephen. Sorry.
Sherry, you are new here, so hi. Unmute yourself. I think you're new. We met you yesterday. Go for it.
Hi, Sherry.
I'm hearing multiple things. Who's in?
Just on watching.
Okay, good. Go for it.
Do you have a question?
No.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. So would you mind just dropping off and letting other people who
Yeah,
do
just
have
mute your video volume for now. That's why you're hearing a replay. You're hearing the echo.
Okay. Questions?
This Sherry?
Yes.
met you yesterday?
So close the window. Sherry, close the window where the Hangout is being hosted and just stay with us in the Hangout. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I was just listening to what the last man said, and I'm wondering, we already have a YouTube channel for Neutral Horse. Would you host it on your existing YouTube channel that already has subscribers?
Sure, you could always want to host a version of it on there. The question is where do you drive the traffic to? So I would never, ever drive traffic to a YouTube channel, ever, because there's like 20 million other things to grab someone's attention. In fact, there's a strategy that I talk about a lot in OpenClickBuy where it's called a link leak. You never want to have any links going to anywhere else, with the exception of the legal stuff at the bottom of your page, and even that can be scrolled way down and in gray, to where someone can do anything other than watch your video. Or buy your product. That's all you want them to do. So the exceptions to that are if you're looking at PPC traffic from Google and sometimes Facebook. They require that you have a legitimate looking website because, to be honest with you, when I created VSLs, it kind of took Google by storm, and they were like, oh crap, it was like, it was causing a lot of traffic issues. So they started saying, okay, it has to look like a legitimate site. So if you have Google traffic, you will want to build a site that's got a menu-driven thing. I'll tell you who does that really well is my wife, and she does it really well because we are partners with a company called Six Pack Shortcuts, who also do it really well. If you want to go to her website, which is myBikiniButt.com, you'll see how we blended a video sales letter together with a sales page and buttons and made it still convert. There was a lot more design work that went into those sites. Normally, when we're not on Google and we're not trying to buy traffic like that, I will put just a video with a background and that's it. I mean, nothing fancy at all, and it converts better. Here's what's funny is if I was to take all that pretty stuff off, even Andrea's pretty picture, if I was to take it off, it would convert better. But Google demands that you look like a quote-unquote real website, whatever that means. I mean, Google has some weird standards for that. So yeah. But host a version of it on YouTube, sure. Make it viral. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Actually, you can also see what we've done here. All these Hangouts are YouTube videos, but we are not sharing them on Google Plus or YouTube or anything. We're bringing you to a dedicated website where we can take your comments, or we can share the links with you, where the offers are being available only to you guys and not the entire world. So we are driving you, even though we're using YouTube, we're driving you into a dedicated place where we get your attention.
We've often thought of doing exactly this because it's a niche product that people need to educate themselves about before they make up their mind to buy. So thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. And it's even more vital to do if it is a niche product. And this is a niche product. I mean, Accelerator is a specific niche for copywriters and things like that. There is a lot, or copywriting tools rather. There is a lot of education that involves. So yeah, I think you're on the right track doing what we're doing here as well. So cool.
Awesome.
Thanks for the question. You're welcome.
Okay, so we are 20 minutes behind time. Do you just want to really quickly answer everybody here in the Hangout?
Yeah, we can do like another 5 minutes of quick Q&A, and then we can bolt and then take the rest of them tomorrow, because the rest of them tomorrow we get to the big problem tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, so Christina, let's try unmuting you. Unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. Quick question, John. This is about a separate project that has nothing to do with art. This is written short vignettes. They're either 1 or 2 pages long. They could be sold as an individual page, as a group, or as a book. Very easy to get high-end affiliates, and also potential of really great ancillary. So how would I market? You know, what would be the price points as the one page, as a small grouping, as a book, or how to position this?
I don't know. I'm just going to give you the honest answer. I'm not sure. Price points, certainly not sure, because it's not anything remotely similar to what I do for what my niche is. So I wish I could answer the question more thoroughly. What I suggest that you do is that a great place for that question is the Copy Posse. There are going to be people in there that know a lot more about that particular niche than I do, and how you should group it.
Okay, terrific. Because I was thinking even like $1 a page, because that would, that just kind of goes ka-chink, ka-chink. But that's great. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Great. And questions from the comments from new people. Brian, I'm sorry, I'm going to murder your last name. Shomel. My question is about the nightmare story. I'm working with a full service company, and I'm considering using the story of how the owner took over the company when her father died. A nightmare story for sure. In your opinion, will this be a distraction, and I should instead use a story about a customer that had a bad experience with another company, or a bad experience trying to do it themselves, or should I use the owner's story?
The only time I would use the owner's story is if it was directly relevant to the customer. So in other words, if the owner has an experience that the customer is about to experience, then you could use the owner's story. If it's just the owner of the company, and okay, I'm going to make an example. I'm going to make something up. I own Microsoft. Let's say I did own Microsoft. I'm Bill Gates. I could care less about Bill Gates. I took over the company after my father died. I could care less, because all I want is his Word product, right? There's no relevance to me whatsoever. So I would use a customer story, like, when I first took over the company, there was a guy that came to me. He was using fill-in-the-blank document. It was terrible. I would use that. So I think that answers the question. Yeah.
I think so. Okay, and another one is in the sequence of the accelerator.
Yeah.
This is from John. Guys, I'm sorry, Quattrocchi, maybe, I think it's Italian. John, how do you compare the sequence of accelerator headline, deck copy quality, credibility, etc., basically all the steps of a sales letter to that of a VSL? I'm a writer who has been studying sales letters form and attempting to understand that sequence, and was wondering if this format is any different, so I know all the vital components that are included.
Well, it's different in the sense that it's the formula that I've used for them when we started this. Now, if I understand your question correctly, you're wanting to know how it stands up as far as a sales letter. So at the same time you're going through Celerator to create the VSL, it's creating the same exact script as a sales letter. So let me use this. Guys, I have to get a little bit rated R here for a moment. One of my biggest raving fans is the #1 guy on adult traffic. And he sells it. He doesn't have an adult product. He has a product that helps boost testosterone in men, and it's a very good product. His VSL guy went through Celerator and wrote about 80% of it using that formula. And then for their sales page, they used the sales page exactly as is. In other words, they didn't change it at all, which I thought was really interesting. And they see really, really good results from it. That being said, that I do teach a different version of how to write a sales page because the psychology is a little bit different, and that's an add-on product that I call a $5 million sales letter formula. It's not that expensive. It's $297, but it's the reason why I call it that is because it's a totally different formula than what we use in VSLs, because we send to an article page and then we send to the landing page to the primary sales page. And the article page is geared to set up the psychological sale on the other page, so there's some psychology involved that's not involved in a VSL. So that may help you a lot. If that's of interest to you, just put something in Google Chat and we'll get that to you. I'll get you some information on that. But I think that answers your question. I can say with certainty that a lot of people use just Celerator to write their sales pages, and they work fine. And I like the $5 million structure too. The reason I call it $5 million is because when I wrote the sales page, that's what it generated, which is pretty damn good. So, yeah.
Okay, so last question from Bahimi, because she's the last one here. And
Hi, Bahimi.
Hey, Bahimi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I'm so excited because I bought the Celerator last night. So
oh, thanks. Congratulations.
I got it on that bonus. Yay.
Yay.
So my question is about the Nightmare Story. If you're creating, ongoing VSLs, are you continually using the same story? It would seem like maybe people would get tired of hearing it in the pitch.
Yeah, if you're using, like, I think what we talked about the other day for you is that there's multiple products that are kind of similar, and that you have, I would use different stories. I would. It requires a little bit more work, but it's completely worth it. Like we do copywriting for supplement lines and for our own products where we do change the Nightmare Story. Like a new, but if it's a new diet book, for example, if I come out with a new version of a diet book, I'll use a similar version of the story. But I have more than one Nightmare Story. For example, I had a panic attack at 118 feet of water. I'm a dive master, and if you've ever dove, you know that that's not a safe depth to have a panic attack and think that you've got to surface really, really quickly. Not safe at all. So that was and I thought that at the time, and I was wrong, but I thought at the time that was caused by I was eating too much bad food and my body was reacting that way. But that was a Nightmare Story I told for a while until I figured out that no, actually that's actually not what caused it. But nonetheless, that's an example of using a different story. So I would come up with the 2 or 3 different iterations of the story, or even if you just change a couple of the details, as long as the story, keep it factual. I mean, of course, that's right. Important. Yeah.
Or maybe just put in some of other people's story, kind of mix it up.
I actually love the third party because what you're doing indirectly is you're creating third party endorsement. If you tell the story about Jan, making this name up, and she went through XYZ, then Jan becomes a testimonial for your product without ever saying that it's a testimonial for your product. So.
Yeah, and Bahimi, you're getting this. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the club.
You'll have to do that for like 50 people, but yeah, we'll thank you. But, yeah.
I know, we're going to bring them in and clap for them. So all of you who joined yesterday, and all of you that will be joining today, just to get the bonus, you want to remind them what it is?
Yeah, the bonus today is Traffic Pros. You get all 10 videos. I'm going to keep that bonus just so you guys are clear. It says before the hangout ends. That's just for the videos. Like, in other words, at the end of today, at any day now, I'll take that one away. I don't know which day yet, but the one that we are for sure taking away end of today, and this is the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. I got the date right. January 28th, 2015. By the end of the day, midnight Pacific Standard Time. The bonus that we're giving you is a half-hour call with one of my trained copywriters. We call them Samurai Copy Warriors. And one of those guys or girls will be calling you and saying, hey, let's get your copy right from the word go. And the value of that is $1,500. That's what we charge to get on the phone and say, hey, here's what we do. And we're giving it to you for free when you pay in full today. So that's the pay in full price. You see the button on the page. You get it for the discounted price, $800 off of where we're going February 1st. It's the last time you will ever see this that low. So I don't do sales of, like, I don't put the product on sale. Like, you're not going to see, like, 2 months from now it's like, hey, it's $29.97, but today you can get it for $300. You'll never see that. It never happens. Ferraris never go on sale. It's the same thing here. So all we're doing is we're going up in price because we're going to continue to go up in price, by the way, because we're going to add more and more stuff, and it's just going to become more and more lucrative. So get in while you can. Get in while you can.
Awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. We have only 3 more days to go. And we halfway, or like 2/3, right, down the sales letter.
2/3. Well, we're in sales letter. We're step 2 of 5, so we got 3 more steps.
3 more steps down this sales letter. So, guys, your homework for today: work on your nightmare story and share it with us, and we can read it and maybe give you some feedback. If I can't sleep tonight, I'm gonna tell you. And share that, and then tomorrow, what are we talking tomorrow? After we're talking about the breakthrough, right?
We're talking about the big problem. What is the big problem? How to make a problem bigger. Your job as a marketer is to take the problem that your customer thinks is a problem and go, no. Yeah, that's a small little problem. The big problem looks like this. And when you do that, you not only get them hooked on the fact that their problem is much bigger. Same thing I did in the sales letter today, by the way. I took your problem way bigger than you think it is. But you also give them the solution to the problem. And your solution is the bigger solution. So tomorrow, the big problem. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you guys think that sucking at social media is not big of a problem, come tomorrow. John will show you how bad it is.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow. We're looking forward to your comments. And don't forget to follow the Accelerator page, because we will share a link to the ebook that we promised you yesterday. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.